All right, guys, this is Corey with the Showdown Battle League. We're going to do the Week 1 recap, and I've got with me Jack of the Toronto Talon Flames, Carlos of the Diamond Springs Dialgas, and disgraced former coach Julio.
What
And
the hell, man?
so we're going to be doing a match-by-match breakdown of all the matches for Week 1. We're going to start with the Diamond Springs Dialgas versus the New England Pat Rats. And this one, Carlos won 4-0. And we've got the stats on the screen right here. And if you guys want to go ahead and give a breakdown of the match.
Well, as the winning coach in this match, I have to say, there was definitely one point in the match where he could have come back and swept me with the Sharpedo, which is illustrated here on the screen. I brought the Cobra Berry for the Bisharp, but it ended up helping me stop the Sharpedo sweep, which definitely secured the win for me at that point.
I thought Hariyama was a smart bring. It's cool to see like lower tier mons used really well, and because of thick fat and because it really checks Bisharp, I thought it was a really good bring and it got half the kills. So that was a smart play. Smart play bringing that.
Well, personally, I think the Carlos just brought a lot of bulk to his. He brought his Tangrowth just in case, and this Hariyama is also really bulky and offensive.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting match. My personal turning point in the match was the Cobra Berry Cresselia and the Thunder Wave on the Sharpedo.
One thing I was really impressed by the New England Patriots was we gave them a lot of criticism in the draft analysis video, but they managed to put together a team which honestly could have got the win if certain things happened a different way, which definitely surprised me.
Yeah, I think they did much better than we had given them credit for initially. And that seems to be the common theme with all the matches this week. Even the lower rated teams did very well and could have potentially had a win.
Yeah, I also think if he had worn down Mega Aggron and then gone for the Slurpuff sweep, he definitely could have either full out won or at least done more damage with it. I think he pulled that out a little too early, but it was definitely the score doesn't really reflect, I think, how close it was, because certain plays could have been made differently. It could have been even closer.
Yep.
I think the only problem with New England is 3 out of his 6 Pokemon he brought were really weak against fighting types.
Yeah, and that was one of the things in the draft analysis that we marked him off for, and that kind of did show up here a little bit. All right, we're going to move on to the next match, the Boston Breloom versus the Irvine Igglybuffs. It was a 4-0 victory for the Boston Breloom, and that was the premiere of that coach as well. That was Brian, I believe. And so we're going to go ahead and what do you guys think about that one?
This is a really good game. I think both coaches played really well. Like, I think this is a game where I think the score was closer, or the game was closer than looked through the score. I just feel like the Boston Breelooms, like anything the Irvine Igglybuffs did, the Boston Breelooms did like just that much better. I think in terms of the prep and how they played. It seems like they had a switch in for everything. They had a hazard stacking plan. Like, I think their team prep was really, really well done. Like the Magnet Rise Klefki, then debate the Heavy Slam, and then going into Manaphy. Like, that was just a really, really well done play. So I think they'll definitely be a top contender for sure. But I think both these teams still did really well.
Yeah, I think the Magnet Rise Klefki was really the turning point for that match. Because he stopped the Earthquake from connecting and then was able to bring in the Manaphy and finish him off. So if not for that, that could have went a little differently. Very smart move on Brian's part, and definitely a creative move set that'll be dangerous for the teams that he plays after this.
Yeah, this was definitely an exciting match to watch. It really was just well played on both coaches' side, and they made good teams that made it overall a really entertaining match.
I think what Boston has going on is they got a lot of support, especially with that Gorgeist. That Willow really wrecks a lot of his physical attackers.
Yeah, the Gorgeist, he had a hard time switching around.
Yeah.
I also think, I don't know if that Crobat had defog or not, but considering that the Igglybuff's team was entirely grounded, like that Spike's damage really added up after a while. Like Mega Steelix is bulky, but it has no reliable recovery. So if that Crobat did have defog and it just didn't get used, that's a shame. Or if it wasn't brought, I think that could be something to look into team building for the future.
Yeah.
It might be he just needs to prep a little more and really think about his teams on it.
Yeah. We got to take into account both of these guys were brand new coaches for this format in this league. So that probably will change here a little bit once they get some experience with this format of play. Definitely for myself, last season took a lot of practice getting used to that kind of play. It's way different than just going into Showdown and laddering.
I mean, I found it pretty easy my first match. I don't know about you guys. What about you, Corey?
Well, there's a reason why you're not in the league this season. So
It's Corey. Obviously, this league's corrupted by a tyrannical ruler that we got going on.
We're going to go ahead and move to the third match, the Cleveland Clefables versus the Chicago White Sox. This was a 4-0 victory for the Chicago White Sox and Luis's first match in the season and in the league. So we had a couple of interesting points in this match and then a very brutal Talonflame sweep towards the end. I'm going to let you guys break that down a little bit.
A lot of 4-0s this week. A lot of 4-0s. I think it's kind of a game. I think we've sort of seen this before where like a single Mon can put in so much work against one team. Like, last season, this Scatterbugs versus it was the former Philadelphia Flygunners team where something like Sableye was able to almost 6-0 another team because Scatterbugs had nothing for it. In this game, like Talonflame, once it set up a few SDs, there was really nothing stopping it. Like, it's just a very, very powerful one. And I think the game was going back and forth before then. He was able to get the Togetic, knock that out as well as the Espeon. But once Talonflame was able to sort of set up with the Yawn after the Yawn play, it was sort of GG from there.
Yeah. Once the Talonflame came in on the sleeping Simisear and got his sword stances up, there was really nothing Frank could have done at that point.
I think at the beginning of the match, Frank was actually doing a really good job. I felt like he had a lot of control over it, and before Simisear fell asleep, he was actually putting in some work. But once it fell asleep and he let the Talonflame get set up, there was just nothing he could do.
Yeah. Still some good skill on both sides, and I'm excited to see how both of these coaches play next week.
I mean, can we talk about that physical Simisear? What the hell is going on with it?
Yeah, it was good. I think it caught Luis off guard a little bit.
I'm hoping we might see really different sets going on this season. Just to see a couple surprises, because I think a lot of the returning coaches might be used to seeing the same sets this season.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the next match, the Baltimore Honchkrow versus the Oakland Azelfs. And we have a 2-0 victory for Josh and the Oakland Azelfs with the Kevin threat list coming back into full effect with bringing some bad memories back with Scolipede this week.
Yeah, this is I think maybe we'll say this was kind of a hack-steam match, tons of crits and such going back and forth. But I think the final score is pretty accurate. I feel like the crits balance themselves out in a way. Scolipede was able to put in a lot of work, and I know that crit on Mamoswine may have mattered. But to be honest, the Honchkrows really did not have much for Scolipede. There wasn't really much to stop it after it got set up, other than Thunderous Eye, Prankster, T-Wave. But I'm pretty sure Scolipede had Lumberry. So his only real plan was basically to have Mamoswine use priority to take it out. I know Honchkrows had the Rhydon, or maybe a Ditto in their roster they could have brought, because Scolipede, it really put in a lot of work. And I think this was kind of an upset in a way, just based on what the post-draft power rankings were. I think the Azelfs did really well. Mega Diancie and Meloetta they used last season. They used them really well, and they're using them well this season too. So I look forward to seeing what both these teams are going to do. It's only the first game, and there's still a lot of room for both teams to grow.
Yeah, this was, if you go back to the draft analysis and the rankings we gave each of these teams, it should have been a clear victory for the Haunch Crow just because they had a much higher ranked draft. But I think Josh is really, he knows his team well, and he has the same members, a couple of them as last season, so he knows how to use them. Very much coming in as the underdog and pulled off a really big win this week, I think. This one, in my opinion, was one of the two premier matches this week going into it, and I was excited to see that they delivered on that.
Yeah, it was definitely nice. This one was one of the closer ones of this week, and so it really created more of an exciting match. Even though a lot of them were could have gone either way, this one was one of the closer ones.
Yep.
I'm really surprised Kevin didn't bring anything for that Scully Pete, especially what happened last season. He's really gonna have nightmares about it.
And the background we have right now is the pivotal moment in the match with the crit on the Mamoswine and the continuation of the Kevin threat list. Alright, we're going to move on to the next match, the Toronto Talonflames versus the Indigo Lasers. This was a 4-0 victory for the Talonflames. Even though it is a 4-0, it did start out a very close match with some really good predictions on Jay's part, especially with the bulky Charizard. So we're gonna have Jack talk about this one a little bit since he was the one playing it.
Yeah, this is definitely sort of an intimidating match going into, because I knew if I didn't play my cards right, or if I didn't prep well enough, Zardax can get one Dragon Dance up and sweep me. Same thing for things like Haxorus. I think Gastrodon put in a lot of work for this team. I think we saw that last season too. You have a bulky Mon that can take hits and dish them back out. They can do pretty well. We saw things like Assault Vest Meloetta and Slowbro last season. They were bulky Mons that were sort of top MVPs. And really, I just kind of had to let my wall core, set up hazards, spread status, and so that Weavile and Fernape can come in late game and sweep.
Yeah, it was exciting seeing the Gastrodon pull off so many kills, and really it's up in the top 3 for MVP this week as a defensive Mon. That was pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, I really liked how Gastrodon was brought this week, because if you look at the matchup, just all the Mons, except for the Shiftry, it took everything on really well, and there wasn't much his opponent could do to stop it.
Well, I can't really say much. I didn't see this one, but from Corey's really artistic drawings, it looks like Canadian Gastrodon did it pretty well.
Yeah, we had some Canadian pride this week. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the last match, and my personal favorite match of the week, the Seattle Sylveons versus the Philadelphia Flygoners, a rematch from the playoffs last year, and the Season 1 champion Noah taking a 1-0 victory, very close victory over Christian.
So yeah, this was another really, really good match. Kind of like the Haunch Crow Azelf one, definitely a bit hacksy. A freeze turn 1, then a crit turn 2. But good plays were made on both sides. Saw some interesting sets like Swords Dance Virizion, a Choice Scarf, Exploud, and physically defensive Landers T to deal with things like Excadrill and Entei. I think what it came down at the end, I think why the Flygoners were able to pull out the win is they identified their win condition in Mega Gyarados, and preserving Landorus T at ENH 5%, knowing he can get that intimidated off late game so that Mega Gyarados can live a hit from Virizion. I think that was just a really smart play, because Flygoners sort of identified if Mega Gyarados can get up a Dragon Dance late game, they will win. So it was a good way to identify a win condition and then pull off the win with that Mon.
Yeah, I think the Intimidate core with Gyarados before it Mega Evolved and the Landorus T really saved them the match this week. Very close, a lot closer than I think people were expecting. Although these two both of them had one of the best drafts this season. So it was very exciting to see it come down to, what was it, like 20% health on the very last Pokemon.
Yeah, it was something like that. Gyarados didn't. It took the. I think it was the Leaf Blade from the Verzion decently well, but yeah, it was a very sort of. It was a lowish percent on the last Mon. It was a very, very close game.
Yeah. If one of those Intimidates didn't go off, it could have changed the outcome of that match entirely. I do think the turning point, though, and as much as Christian is going to hate this, the Brick Break Salamence onto the Landorus T that did not kill it, left it with like 5% health when any other attacking move would have killed it. I think if that wouldn't have happened, could have potentially changed the outcome. It would have been one less Intimidate on the Virizion at the very end.
I think the calc did say at -1, it still did live unless I think it was unless the Virizion was adamant or something along those lines. I forget the exact specific details. Although I do think Salomon's Fire Blast was good for the, what was it called, the Doublade. I think that was a really smart play. Because I think, he went for a Dragon Claw, it didn't do much, and then he went for the Fire Blast, and it almost O-code it, so that was a really smart bring, or else Doublade could have maybe swept.
Yeah. And Carlos, what did you think about this match?
I mean, for me, this was definitely the biggest match for me of the week. Two top-rated teams. I think we both gave them 9 out of 10s or something like that. Maybe one of them 9.5 out of 10. But I just remember I was in the car and I finally get the match load up and I see there's Gyarados that just lives that hit, and it's just a crazy match all around. It was so close and really made the week finish off with a bang.
Yeah, I definitely think that this was a very exciting week, a really good start to the season, and I was really happy to not see any 6-0 sweeps this week. We had a lot of them last season, and it's always more exciting to see it come down to the wire like this one. So we're going to go ahead and move into next week predictions, and I do want to run over the MVP race real quick. I'm just going to go over the top 3 because we have all the rest of them available on the spreadsheet. We also, for the team rankings, we did it a little bit differently because a fourth or a third of the league is tied for first place with +4. We just lumped them all as first place. There's a couple of people, 4 people in the middle with various differentials, and then the other third of the league is tied for last place at -4. So that'll pan out a little bit differently as it has last season, but once we get some more matches going on, that'll change. But the overall MVP, we have Talonflame leading with a +6 with 6 kills and 0 deaths. Then we have a tie between Gastrodon and Hariyama, both of them at 3 kills and 0 deaths at +3. And then it goes on from there. Next week, we've got a interesting schedule. Looking at it now, I think that it's going to be some exciting matches. One that I'm really excited to see is the Talonflames versus the Boston Breloons. I think that'll be a key match.
Yeah, that's an interdivision match. I think we both have the same score right now, so whoever wins this match will be taking the lead in the division. And it's a Canadian match.
Yeah, it'll be the Canadian Throwdown on Thanksgiving. And the other big match that we're going to all look forward to is the Philadelphia Flag Honors and the Diamond Springs Dialgas. That'll be a good one to see also.
Yeah, that's going to be a good match.
Any match that Noah's in is going to be one where it's going to be pretty intense.
Yeah. So there's some high key matches coming this week. So it'll be very interesting to see how all that goes and how the scores pan out after that. But that's all I got. Do you guys have anything you would like to add?
Man, I'm just looking at the conferences and the divisions. I legitimately feel like all 12 teams this season have potential to make playoffs, and like there's every single conference you can look at and say, wow, that's stacked. Like all these matches are going to be so important, and I think the playoff race this season is going to be really tight. So I'm really looking forward to these upcoming weeks.
Yeah, I don't think that there's going to be any clear playoff spot until week 10. Until we get to the very end, they're not going to be decided, and that's really exciting to see.
I mean, hopefully nobody drops out, and maybe I get the chance to come in and kick your asses, guys.
Yeah, if you guys quit, Julio's going to take your spot and nosedive your team, so don't have that happen.
Oh.
Carlos, I'll bribe you if you want.
I'm good.
Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and cut it here. This is the Week 1 recap, and we will see you guys next week when we do our Week 2 recap.